Assertiveness skills, the preemptive peace paradox, how avoiding conflict guarantees it. The paradox. We often mistake silence for peace. This is part one of a two-part exploration into the preemptive peace paradox, why our instinct to avoid conflict guarantees it. Here, in chapters 1 and 2, we'll diagnose the mechanism. Chapter 1. The silent explosion. How your attempts to keep peace create war. You're about to learn why your instincts about conflict are exactly backwards. Pay attention to Liam's story, because you'll recognize yourself in it, and what comes next will change how you handle every difficult conversation you have from this point on. How many difficult conversations are you avoiding right now? One with your partner? One with your manager? Every time you stay silent to keep the peace, you're not avoiding conflict. You're just delaying it. You're not keeping peace. You're training yourself in suppression. And that training doesn't stay in one area of your life. Liam's fiancée made a comment that bothered him. Something about his career ambitions being cute. He didn't say anything. It wasn't worth a fight, he told himself. 2 weeks later, she said something similar. He stayed quiet again. By month 3, he wasn't just bothered, he was resentful. He started being short with her, withdrawing, finding reasons to be unavailable. She asked what was wrong. Nothing, he said. Then one evening, something small happened. She was 10 minutes late, and Liam exploded. Not about the lateness, about everything he'd never said. Here's what actually happened. Liam didn't avoid conflict. He just delayed it until he had no control over how it emerged. This is the preemptive peace paradox, the belief that avoiding difficult conversations preserves relationships. It doesn't. It weaponizes the relationship by converting unspoken grievances into relational landmines. Chapter 2. The science. Why silence destroys. Now you've seen the paradox in action. But why does this happen to all of us? In this chapter, we're going under the hood of your brain to understand the mechanical failure that turns small issues into explosions. This is the science that makes the solution possible. And, more importantly, it gives you a precise framework to stop this cycle for good. The preemptive peace paradox is rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of relational conflict. We think of conflict as relationship damage, something to be avoided to maintain harmony. But research in relationship psychology shows that conflict avoidance is actually a stronger predictor of relationship dissolution than conflict frequency. Why? Because unaddressed issues don't disappear. They accumulate and metastasize. Here's the neuropsychological mechanism. When you experience something that violates your boundaries or values and you don't address it, your brain doesn't file it away as resolved. It stores it as unfinished business. Each similar incident activates the previous ones, creating what's called stress stacking. You're not just reacting to the current moment. You're reacting to the accumulated weight of every previous moment you didn't address. This is why people have disproportionate reactions to seemingly minor incidents. It's not about the lateness or the dishes or the comment. It's about the pattern you've allowed to become entrenched by never asserting when it started. For Liam, this pattern had roots. Growing up, he watched his parents' marriage dissolve in constant screaming matches. He internalized a narrative. Conflict destroys relationships. So he developed a strategy. Peace through silence. Don't rock the boat. Accommodate. Smooth things over. This worked in his childhood home where he had no power to change the dynamics. But he carried it into adult relationships where he did have power. The power to address issues while they were still small and solvable. What Liam didn't understand. There's a fundamental difference between conflict avoidance and conflict management. Avoidance is refusing to address issues. Management is addressing them before they escalate. He thought he was preserving his relationship. He was actually poisoning it with accumulated resentment. We've seen the silent cost of preemptive peace, a psychological mechanism designed for short-term comfort, guarantees long-term rupture. The paradox is now clear. What feels like protection is actually a slow, relational poison. Your brain's method of storing unfinished business ensures that silence is never neutral. This concludes Part 1, the paradox. In Part 2, the calibration, we explore what it means to interrupt this cycle, not with confrontation, but with a different form of communication.